Alberta at the Silent Ice Center for the Co-op Canadian Open. Draw number 1 for the women's side of the competition. The top 16 ranked teams in the world competing for the right to call themselves Canadian Open champions this week. We will introduce you to the teams here. Team Gim and Team Ha will be our feature matchup this 11:30 game. For Team Gim, Skip Ha Sung-yeon. Skip Sol Eun. Third, Kim Soo-ji. Second, Kim Min-ji. Lead, Kim Yoo-jung. And on the other side, for Team Ha, Skip Ha Sung-yeon. Third, Kim Hee-rin. Second, Yang Tae. Lead, Kim Soo-jin. Tyler George here, joined by 3-time world champion, 16-time Grand Slam champion Brent Lang. Brent, 2 very busy teams on tour this season. We're looking at the results for the year. Team Gim has played 8 events. You'd think that would be the most on tour, but their counterparts, Team Ha, have played 9 times. Yeah, the results a little later, but I don't remember playing this many events before Christmas break, let alone.
It's a full fall season, yeah, it totally is. And here we are, it's what, November 4th or something. They are full-time curlers, I guess. But they also, the season over in Asia starts, like there's a couple of events in Japan in maybe even late July, early August, so that's helpful, but that's a lot of curling, makes my knees sore just thinking about it. But they should be in mid-season form. We should be in for a good battle. That's what that tells me, right?
High expectations for teams playing this many games by this point in the season. See the center guard for Team Gim off the center line. Brent, those are ones you always like as the team with Hammer starting out, too, when that center guard ends up kind of a semi-corner guard. That's pretty much an auto call to either come around or throw a corner of your own. Looks like they're here on the short side here. So it'll be 2 centers.
Triple centers to start, just like we ordered. I like it.
Should be no lack of action early in this game.
Different format this week than the original. The first one in Charlottetown was a triple knockout, which is slightly more straightforward. This one we got some pools with a crossover game just to make it a little bit more difficult for, you know, super intelligent guys like ourselves to explain to the viewers. But you want to win more games than you lose. That's still the same. It still kind of is triple knockout and you're out. For sure, if you lose 3, you're out. If you win 2 and go 2 and 2 and you have a good shootout, you're in a good spot. But you do have to watch a lot of the, you don't have to, but a lot of the other games and the shootout numbers matter in this format. So it's a little more confusing. Once we get to Sunday, it's all the same. Quarterfinal, semifinal, final, champion. That's it.
And explaining the triple knockout was considerably easier for us, where it's win 3 before you lose 3 and you qualify. That's it.
This one needs a bit of a telestrator and, you know, and calculator and all the rest. But go undefeated was always the easiest way to do it. Got one of these early chases down the middle that we see consistently miss light.
And this one
looks to be on track.
Looks to be just fine. I think they played it smart there too, Brent, with throwing a little more weight than what we've seen on that shot early in games. Taking the ice out of it a little bit more. Gets by the guard easily, rolls to the back of the 8-foot.
Good chance for Team Ha here. No real danger. It's their guard that's the tightest center guard. There's nothing guarding the button. And even if Team Gim hits and stays out here in the 8-foot, nothing very scary just yet.
They'll stick around on the outside of the house. No danger here for Team Gim.
I would like to see a freeze or a come around here, but this is fine too, first end.
For Team Ha, it's kind of a green light special to come around the center here, but playing 0 or 2
These were curling last night. We found inside out was curling probably more on hits than outside in, which is pretty standard, but substantially more.
Don't believe we saw a single shot like this in our men's opening draw this morning, so we'll see if it does indeed curl that much, if it holds true to what we saw in practice last night.
And for whatever reason, we do see the inside-out shot a lot more in the ladies' game, and I think again, they might just be outsmarting us, Tyler. It's something that you want to be able to throw later in the game. A lot of times you'll have that chase around the corner guard, and that's the first time you've seen it, and you think, wow, I wish we played inside out on those open hits earlier.
Team
to check
Jim
it out.
is doing the opposite now. They're playing the outside in. And what we taught with that, Brent, the rationale was when you play the outside in, you're playing the straighter turn, and the line that you need the rock to be on, it's on that line for a pretty good portion of the shot. Whereas when you're playing inside out, you're kind of waiting for it to get to that spot, and it's curling harder. So sweeping doesn't have near as much of an effect on that inside out hit. So we thought we, as curlers, had more control over playing the outside in. The counter argument would be when you're playing in the wings, especially early in the game, you might run into some frost or something like that, which generally we just throw the rock harder and take that out of play too.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said throwing a hit, not having to throw it off the rock on the line too.
Yeah, being on the line that you need it to be on for a longer period of time does seemingly make the shot easier. Both teams content to trade hits in the first end, even with the two guards up.
Somebody's probably going to end up behind those guards at some point, and whether that's going to cause a freeze to force.
Kim Min-ji
Oh, there we go.
does roll out, so opportunity now for Team Ha. This time they will indeed go around those guards, unless they change their minds. There's a split, possibly, on that. I think maybe they were taking a look at where they needed to hit to make that split. But it appears as though they're playing the out turn come around.
This has been the path that almost every shot this end has been thrown on, whether intentionally or not. Everything has over curled. So I don't think there'll be a problem getting it buried, and the speed should be good. Yeah, like you said, a really good chance here early for Team Ha, drawing around one of their own. Might want to get a little sneaky here and leave it half open to try and entice the chase, knowing that if they wreck, they may chip you in. Just don't want to be behind the tee line.
Kim Min, trying to get this to finish now.
Don't want to be right there.
A lot of rotation on that draw too, Brent. Hard to get that to finish as much.
She's considering hitting it. Okay, so it didn't get buried. Pretty good chance to freeze here, I think. Really start to close down the scoring area if you freeze one in the 4-foot here.
And with the rock staggered off the center, it's still not dangerous for Team Ha, but definitely, Brent, you can close down that scoring area.
That has got to be tight ice. Just outside the 4-foot. Heads up front end here, knowing that's not enough ice. We're not going to tell the skip, but we're going to just sweep it early. Been needing it to curl now.
Yeah, that early sweep may have been a little ill-advised, but looks close for freeze now.
Perfect.
Right, well done. Well judged. Good team shot. Team Ha will be forced to follow that line now.
Would be great if they could bump this, right? Kind of just on about 7/8 high. High side being the under curl. And bump that red one to the back 12, stay frozen for shot, and kind of set up a potential 2 or even 3. Don't want to roll off, though. It turns into a very good steal chance. This Team Gim will just whip another one around there to the button.
Very important shot here in the first for Team Ha. Looks to be right on the same path. The over curling just a touch, but good result. Not a lot of scoring space in there for a second counter, and not much space to freeze to get shot.
Getting very, very small in terms of the square footage left to make the deuce. And that's all set up by coming too deep on that come around. The first chance there for Team Ha, the free come around went back 4 foot, and here we are. I think a really good freeze bump here on, again, 7/8, and steal is probably the most likely outcome.
Skip Kim Eun-ji. Her first here in the first end. Trying to make that high side freeze. This one looks a little lighter, yeah. Really needs to go.
This is gone.
Oof. And won't get a bounce either. That's just going to nestle right up to that red guard.
Line it up almost to the button.
It's a big opportunity now for Ha early in this matchup to put together a multiple point end. And Brent, if that freeze was made, I think you could almost assuredly hang one for one of the two teams.
For somebody, yeah, it wasn't going to be a chance at 2 or 3. Now there's room for, if they freeze this on perfectly, I have no idea what Yoonji Kim is going to do.
Yeah, there's almost no shot to give up less than 2 if you make this freeze to your own.
Might have to try and smash it out of there and hope that the back one spins and at least make a tap back for 2. You can see the ice they're taking. That's less ice than you'd like to see required for this shot early in the week. I think you're going to see before, I'm going to call before Wednesday dinner time or before Thursday morning for sure. The ice makers are going to have a late night and they're going to touch up these rocks, or maybe they have room to clip more, which just means shave the ice, shave some of the more pebble off earlier in the game before the game to get some more curl. Looks like they like it.
Yeah, line looks very good here based on what we saw in previous shots. This one turning over a little bit though. That's going to be perfect.
I actually let it over curl. That's pretty damn good.
If you're playing a freeze to the second red, you have almost no space to throw it to. You saw that tap on the red stone. That's a sign that they are indeed 2. Certainly looks like it by quite a ways.
Oh, for sure. I think maybe just wondering, can I see this thing to pick it out and give them 2? Or are we playing an absolutely perfect draw to this square inch? So probably still give them 2.
There is a possible draw, but it looks like maybe they're trying to tap that red and sit second based on where that initial broom went down. Yeah, because that's 3-4 inches less than what we just saw.
You might want to throw this top 8 fully open on the other side of center and just say, hopefully you can't draw wide for 3.
Boy, I mean,
there's not many spots for this to end up that are any good.
I'm not sure what you can really accomplish with this broom here, Brent. I mean, if you're taking this much, now they pushed it out a couple inches, okay. But even with that, I mean,
it's got to be tight ice, right?
It's tight ice, but if you play enough to move that stone, yeah, this is really dangerous. It's final stone for Team Gim. Looking to freeze. Try to cut Team Ha down. Needs to finish. And that's exactly what kind of expected with that shot. That I'm not sure what else was going to happen.
Is there a shot for 4 now? That's still on the corner of that yellow. I can't tell from here. But there's enough space if that's...
They're definitely looking at it. I don't think there's a lot of risk either.
There is a shot for 4 here, I think.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Just a sliver on the high side. You don't need to throw a lot of weight.
And it's really no risk, because if you nose it, you get 3. If you hit it too high, you still get 3. I don't want to call it admissible, but it's a question of if the shooter hangs on or not, I think.
You'd have to really hang in order not to get 3 with this shot minimum. So I hit 3/4, high side, very likely for 4. For Team Ha early in this matchup. Final stone, first end. Not overthrowing it. I think it needs
the double carve. Did you see that move?
That's a new one.
Hello.
That'll do it. Great shot. The double carve works. And that will be 4 for Team Ha here in our first end of action. Women's feature matchup, the opening draw.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
First end turns on its head. Final 4 shots with what was looking like a force or a steal. Turns into 4 for Team Ha, leading Team Gim. 4-0 after 1. Tyler George here with Brent Lang. Brent really came down to that missed freeze short that opened the door for Team Ha, but certainly didn't see that ending up being 4 until it came down to the final stone.
Until the last rock, until Team Gim's last rock stopped. But it went from a mistake from Team Ha going deep on the come around, and then turned into
right in the trap.
Maybe they did it on purpose. I missed the where you kind of tap your nose or whatever it is for the hey, I want this back 8, make them think we missed.
Yeah, and that situation too, I mean, as much as it was a mistake, it's never a bad thing as the team with Hammer to, in a situation where you're not really looking at much danger again because the guards were staggered off the center line, forcing your opponent into drawing in a situation where it could bring multiple points into play. And they made that shot perfectly afterwards too. The first freeze was made, and they still ended up giving up 4.
Guess there was just no way of getting out of it, hey?
That
It was just perfectly executed.
The trap was laid right from the start. Nothing they could do, but well executed. Final 3 stones for Team Ha.
We are picking the best first ends to commentate so far today. We got 7 points in our 2 first ends, and again, not very much else going on around the rings.
Combined 2 points total from the 3 men's games and 3 women's games, besides our games. And Team Adine with a 3 in the first in the opening men's draw earlier, and another end that didn't look like a 3 by any means going to skip stones.
Be interesting to see how, from a fan and a coaching perspective, how do you respond to a disastrous start like that? Obviously, not something you consider is going to happen. Giving up 4 in the first, even giving up 3, but see if they can bounce back here. You can't. Well, I shouldn't say you can't get them all back at once. You're unlikely to get them all back at once, so you got to put together a good end and score a deuce. play another good end and maybe force and then a deuce, and you're kind of back within one. But uphill battle. We need an odds maker in here that can actually do math above 5+5 to give us the updated odds as the score goes. That would be fun to know. Coming in, I would think that Gim would have been a favorite here. A little more experience, been around, won some bigger events, but
Yeah, two teams I'm sure very familiar with each other as well. But Team Gim, ranked number 3 in the world, number 2 year to date. They're 8 events that they've played so far this year. They have 3 firsts, a runner-up, 2 semis, and 3 quarters.
it's a pretty good season.
Yeah, and yet again, not number 1 year to date because Rachel Homan is a thing in the curling world. But incredible start to the season for Team Gim, even though not an incredible start for this game. For Team Ha, ranked 13th in the world, number 8 year to date. They've played 9 events this season. 1 win, the Elite 8. 2 seconds, 3 semifinals, a quarterfinal, and 2 non-qualifiers. Team Gim coming off a runner-up at last week's Pan-Continental Championships.
Yeah, had almost made one of the best last shots you'd see to knock off Team Homan, but in a measure didn't quite move it far enough.
A nice shot there from Team Gim's second, Kim Suji. Clears 2 red stones and keeps the shooter around, so they have plenty of shrapnel to go around to try to get a multiple point and get back in this game. I don't know that I want to do a lot of curling math yet in the second end, but I would say you could still come back with the 2, give 1, get 2, give 1.
What week are we in the curling season? We got to only be in like week 12 or 13.
Is
right?
there an end to it anymore?
No.
I mean, is there start, finish?
Sure. There's no events in June that I know of. May is a slow month. July starts up again on the Asian Tour, and then August is full-fledged in Europe.
They play in July over there?
think so.
My goodness. I remember being a little upset about playing mid-August.
Yeah, that's golf season, right?
It's not curling season, but you know what? It is
It is
curling
now.
season now.
That just proves we can have events in like Mexico and places like that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But in December, in January and February, the beautiful months in Canada.
Close to golf courses.
Yeah.
One of the events famous for that, the World Tour event down in Arizona. The Wrench.
Right.
Wearing Classic.
I've never been down there.
Teams always bringing their golf clubs down for that one.
The curling gets in the way, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, you see teams trying hard to qualify A-side for that so they get that time to golf after. Well, that was a staple for your guys from Team McEwen. That you're
What a
working with.
runner. Sticks it, mostly buried. Yeah, they love going down there. Mike just loves to curl.
He does. A great run back there, as you said. That sticks it dead behind the guard, and that rock in the back of the forefoot is mostly open. So this is a really good setup now.
This is an interesting call here. This is all gas and no brakes. Playing the corner freeze, which a lot of times is going to over curl and leave the chase on the back one to lie to. I kind of like either peeling the guard or maybe give the chase a go. It looks like the chases are curling pretty good. I don't mind a hack weight chase. I guess the fear is the dreaded feather tick, don't move the guard, redirect. But so right where her broom is would be awesome, on the corner of it and guarding the back one, but a lot of times this is going to over curl.
Yeah, as you said, there really isn't a very big spot to throw this to get a good result, because if it over curls, you're pretty much looking at a 2 already.
And it's not an awesome result even if you make it, so I don't love
over
it.
curl.
Looks like it over curled. And it's hard to even use it to kill the top 8 one. You might be looking at 2 buried here in a minute.
Well, you're looking prophetic already as they've put the broom down to hit the back stone. And I like the call here too from Gim. You know, you might be tempted to look at the scoreboard and say, how do we figure out a way to get 3? But you're in the second end. And if you can get a 2 and right back in it, a 3 might present itself in the final 3 shots for you. But if you hit this stone right now, there's a really good chance you're going to score at least 2 no matter how the end goes, as long as you execute.
This looks more like a 3 than that 4 did last end, so
That's definitely true.
good looking shot here. Perfect weight.
That rolls to a good spot, too. Stays away from the center, so takes a steal likely out of play. Still sits 2. Really good shot.
Curling entourages are growing over the years, hey? We got, looks like 5 people on the bench back there. One I recognize, that's Guy Hemmings. Doing some work now with Team Gim, has been for a couple of years. A character of the game for sure.
His hair looks fairly well groomed, too, which is kind of disappointing with Guy, if you know Guy at all, and his trademark just rolled out of bed look.
He's given up on giving up. I don't like it. Yeah, usually when you get older, you give up. I know I have, but that's because I don't have anything to really pay attention to anymore. But
It looks like it almost takes work to look like it hasn't been worked on as much as he does, like you said.
I'd like to see you give a chance. Maybe there's a roll behind the corner or behind the center. I don't mind being down 4, forcing them to a tough draw against a couple.
It looks like there's room to roll either way.
Sounds like a nose, but okay. Well, they didn't really try and roll it that way. You have Team Hawk can come up with a big hit and roll to get them out of a little bit of trouble here.
And plenty of space still to make the roll back now for Team Ha. Skip Ha Sung-yeon.
내려도 안 갈 것 같아 안 내려질 것 같아가지고.
Korean Women's National Championship is no joke anymore. Not that it ever was, but now it's got to be one of the most competitive, one of the toughest to win.
Now for Team Gim, they are 6-time Korean Women's Champions. For Team Ha, 2022, their 1 title.
They got to get by Team Kim too, who for a long time were dominant there in the mid to late 20 teens.
Out turn, hit and roll opportunity for Team Ha. Another big shot.
Double carve. I like this new move. I haven't seen many teams pull it off. Sounds high.
Now
Okay.
the roll may play above the tee line too for Team Gim, so 3 possibly back in the picture. We're going gambling once again. Take the over all day.
So far on the feature games,
Yeah.
the only thing that keeps it under is they quit early last game. But I don't know what the over, what would the average over under be for a slam game? It's got to be like 9.5.
Yeah.
10.
10, 9.5, 10.5 in that range. See a few 11.5s with the teams that like to stack up points. We did have a 2 over on GD apparently. Tirinzoni with a 2-0 lead on Kiyama.
Taking almost no ice here. I like getting after this roll, but holy smokes, that's almost in the middle of the rock. Looks like she's throwing about board weight, so found a straight spot here.
Really aggressive broom.
어,
A little heavy, they said. Trying to go the other way, maybe?
That's a really good adjustment there.
Heads up call.
And Barry's probably half. So great communication there.
Team
One
McEwen and
team,
Team Schuster better be watching. I think this is the sheet they play on this afternoon.
10이야. 좀 있었다 왠지.
Definitely not getting a lot of curl. It did look like, besides that the weight was up a little, that release was a little positive. But still tracked all the way down.
Hit it where the broom was.
Yeah. But good adjustment. They do get something good out of it.
I would expect this to curl quite aggressively, just based on the fact that the other turn in this spot is so straight. maybe it's not completely level on this side just yet. Talking to the ice makers last night, though, John Wall was saying this was a pretty straightforward, easy install. It was pretty level already. They came in and only had to flood a couple times, and good building, only 2 years old, so no excuses is obviously what I said to him, right? Should be perfect.
In-turn hit and roll attempt for Team Ha. This is close to the guard. Oh, and Rex.
Oh, no. I don't like to be so right, but it just was inevitable that that was going to curl.
야, 이쪽으로 갈까? 드로우 아까 했는데. 아니면 이쪽도 되면 웨이트는 상관없어.
It's going to be a shootout at the OK Corral.
Looks like the out-turn draw will be the shot for a third point for Team Gim.
Just a feather tick there. That's nothing from getting by.
중반?
I think we were right a lot that end, actually, with the call of just play for your two and take three if it presents itself. And there's your even half miss is all it took.
People
Shot
often
to
ask
three.
me, I don't know if you get this question a lot, but what's the difference between men's and women's curling? You know, do the men have an advantage? And there's an example where in a men's game, no disrespect to either of these women's teams, two great sweeping teams, but the men get that bye. I mean, especially the Italian men and, you know, the big, Benny Heebs, Brett Gallant, those kind of guys get that bye, and there's an extra point you've saved.
Margin
just from
for error
sweeping.
for shooters.
It's bigger for the guys. There's just no getting around that.
다될것 같긴 해.
Final stone, first end. Team Gim drawing for a third point after giving up 4 in the first. Sweepers all over this one.
Never left it right out of her hand.
Has to get by the guard, too. Part will be okay, but will it get to third count?
아, 그 세이브다.
Sweepers think so. Not convinced yet.
그 세이브?
That would be a huge unforced error. It doesn't look like it
너무
from here.
바깥쪽으로 가서.
I'll take red.
쓰리.
Oh, I lose again. God damn it.
It wasn't even a measure. You
Oh
didn't
my
have
God,
to.
am I good at this game?
It is indeed 3 for Team Gim, as you could be assured as soon as Brent said it wasn't. 4-3 after 2. It will be a shootout on sheet C.
이거 둘이야? 세 개인데? 세 개인데? 세 개라 했는데?
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game,
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on,
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
and it's the choice of champions. I've stood at the
시간은 간다. 다들. 천천히 해요. 승력 받게. 좋아요. 넷. 셋. 좀 오자. 셋. 계속 오자.
4 in the first for Team Ha, 3 in the second for Team Gim. 4-3 in our feature matchup here. The Co-op Canadian Open, Grand Slam of Curling.
많이 떨어지긴.
Nisku, Alberta, in the Silent Ice Center.
7. 센터 안 불었어.
Thought with the start to this game, Brent, with the couple guards up, that we'd see some early fireworks. I don't know that we were predicting 7 points in the first 2 ends, but and 2 that really until the final shot didn't look like anything more than a 2
많이 밀려.
for either team, but a last shot miss by each skip. The team without Hammer creates that opportunity, so here we are.
웨이트 안 오다. 웨이트 와야 돼.
Yeah, it looks like fireworks for sure. And
웨이트 와줘.
unfortunately for Team Gim in the first, if they don't throw their last skip stone, which they're trying to make a perfect shot, if they don't throw it, they only ever give up 3. Just roll to a bad spot, and then impressed though. Team Gim, no panic. Let's try and make 2 in the second, get back in the game. Capitalized just barely on a miss and got the 3, and got ourselves a bit of a wild start.
Big sweep on that final shot to get those extra couple inches for that point too. And we would have thought that a 2 would be a victory for Team Gim in that end, but when you look at the scoreboard early, you know, it is only an 8-end game. It goes fast. The difference between 4-3 and 4-2 is significant, even just on the mental side of things. With thinking, hey, we're only down a point now. That makes a huge difference. There's not much to make up.
Yeah, the mine's a slippery slope, right? There's a possibility that Team Haas out there up 1 with playing the third end, thinking the momentum is on the other side, as silly as that sounds. But when you get 4 in the first, you could force in the second, you really see the wind come out of the sails of the other team, but you give them 3 back and it almost feels like you're tied. But a good setup here, early, what we would call a potential junior deuce. You get 1 buried and then you split the rings. You draw open side, so hit and roll away from this situation and force Team Gim to make a choice. Are we going to take on a whole bunch of risk this end, or are we going to try and make 1 good hit and roll late?
And there's really not much way to set up a double if you roll away for the rest of the end because of the way the rocks are staggered and because of the side of that red that's protected, that's under the guard. If you're able to hit this and roll out to the outside 12-foot, you're in a great setup to score at least 2 already. Yeah, they swept it all the way to stay there, though. A little surprised at the rock placement.
Now there's a double. You just got to make a run back first.
I would definitely question the decision to try to stay in the center of the sheet with that hit and stick and not roll away.
It's on a little inside.
I think that one just got turned over out of hand. It certainly looked like it was curling a lot, besides that it was on a tight line, which we really haven't seen with that type of shot yet. So I think that one was just operator error.
Weird to throw a center guard here, up 1 with the hammer. Drawing over here, I know that's kind of the natural. Also potentially sets up a triple. Be awfully thin though, I guess. Blank here would be fine, as much as it feels like you want 2 or 3 as you're lying 2 and shooting. It's early in the end. If you blank here, take the hammer to the 4th, up 1. Calm the ship a little after 7 points in the first 30 minutes.
They are throwing out to the wide side. This is the safe play, Brent. Really not much you bring into play for your opponent going in. You're going to give them a lot of opportunities to get out of the end, but again, your worst case scenario is probably a blank throwing this shot.
That's a lot of broom action right there. All 4 in there.
Really good sweep again. Should be just fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the call there from Team Ha.
It did sweep it maybe too far. I think there might be a triple. Make this top double. The first one you hit's going awfully close to that other one, depending on how you make it, but it is pretty thin.
See how many Team Gim can lose. Team Suji. Only clears the 1, looks like.
Triple was there and really spreads the other 2 reds out.
Now that's probably an inch away from getting all 3, and instead only gets 1. So these are your dream scenarios as team with hammer and the lead. No guards in play and stacking rocks in the house. You're very likely either scoring multiple points or blanking. Brent, where's your ideal spot with this stone?
I think kind of even with the back one, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, it's unfortunately drawing back there, it gives them a couple chances of a double off the T-line stone. And if it goes right to the broom there might be a chance to tick and get over to the other one even.
Yeah, you'd rather have him playing the thin wheel than you would a straightforward double.
I think I might make sure this overcurled the center line and kind of draw back 8 even with the one closest to us, the back 12 one. But to make sure there's no shooter in double off the one on the side 8 foot. That's really thin.
I think I would have kept going on that one a little more even too, because they're never playing the double off the one on the outside 12 foot.
No, like if she has to risk flashing this to make it, but if she does, you can see how thin it is. But I would have liked that to curl another rock, even a rock and a half. The depth was perfect, but it's still hard to say this isn't a good situation.
For Team Gim, after rallying with that 3 in the second, really like to stay away from giving it right back in the third.
There you go. That's why I didn't like it.
So close to getting all 3 too, but hit that exact same spot with a little more weight and they're all gone. But they do get 2.
And the one remaining is a really good, there's nowhere you can go in the house to not leave a double.
Right. Great shot there from Team Gim. Third Kim Min-ji coming up with a big shot for her team. And again, the mental side you mentioned too, Brent, when Team Haas still up 1 with, splitting the house to sit 2, but you still kind of feel like, boy, we could really be burying these guys right now, and we're letting them out of jail again. We've got fresh stools in the booth. Oh, we got the catbird seat now. Look at this.
Padding and height.
The commentary is going to get better now. Guaranteed.
I think you want this one at least T-line. Leave that kind of quarter rock double high or quarter rock double on the inside. That is pretty perfect, I think.
I don't think you could place that much better. The double is incredibly thin either way.
Probably going to see them just hit and roll in front. Yeah. Well placed.
Still 3 shots left in the end, so just rolling it somewhere in the vicinity should give you a double on your next.
Oh, I think she is trying the double. That is tight ice in a spot that we know curls.
We'll know with the weight probably.
Not throwing it so super hard.
It's definitely hard enough to make the double. We'll see if they're just playing the roll. They were playing the roll, I think, but
Yep, good shot.
gets it right in that area.
Yeah, do you ever freeze here?
Well, they're looking at drawing.
If you hit, there's definitely a double. That would be really good. I like the aggression. I like the call here.
With the angles where they're at, it's probably the correct shot, too. Well, your brain says 0 or 2, hit the stone automatically, but you can bring 3 back into play with a good draw here, and you have no danger whatsoever.
Need to get this back 8 foot. Really in the pocket, like the line's not all that important.
Keep that in. This in-turn draw. That is locked on for the freeze. Well placed.
So our apologies. Apparently there's been some technical issues. You've missed some of If you've missed anything, it was our best work ever, I'm sure. If you haven't missed anything, that was the technical issue. No, but apparently we have had some tech issues, and
Yeah, that definitely the tech issues threw the pronunciation of the names off for me, obviously.
right,
So
that could be it.
yeah,
also,
that popped into play.
there should be a disclaimer for all names that we do try our best, but we promise to get better. We're always trying to get better. But I think we're up and running now, and that's a really good freeze. Kind of over curled a little bit, so did leave a double, but to make the double, you're probably going to lose your shooter, and we're probably going to see a blank end. But any little mistake here, and
Yeah, if that curls 2 inches less, it's dead perfect, but still a really good result.
impressed. I haven't seen a lot of this Ha team, but so far, not afraid to throw the draws. Always a good sign.
Just trying to play nose-nose.
Oh, wow.
Stay on top of this with this weight.
This needs to be very precise.
You can't cross here. You're bringing 3 right back into play.
They don't look very happy.
And there is cross and rolls out too. Far enough that red is sitting 2.
You draw in front of the easier thin double.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Or you go open side and take your 2. You know this path. They already drew there once.
Well, I'd be awfully tempted to throw this top 8 above.
Go over there
Or
too.
even-
That's fine. Most places you hit the rings here, you're going to be pretty happy if you're lying 3.
And looking at the angles too, I mean, it is awfully thin. Playing the double on the back too. A lot of options. Main thing you don't want to do is throw this in a spot where the double off of the side of the stone goes into the rock in the back of the 8-foot, and then you're kind of maybe partway in front of the other red stone too.
Yeah, I think that's why simplifying it, drawing open, that'll never happen. If you draw on the line where that can happen and you're a little heavy, that would be pretty disastrous. Take your free 2. It's not like it's a gimme double either. That's really thin.
Yeah, very thin.
So I think this is what I would kind of lean towards.
Yeah, this you want high as well, well above the tee line.
Yeah, you probably want this top 8 or back 8, right? You don't want to leave a double off this one into that side one, although there might be a jam, and sometimes you got to risk it. I'm still in the boat that if we hit the 8-foot here, we just kind of turn and say, your shot, and we're probably going to score 2 here. You're going to have to make a really good one not to give us 2. Looks like they like it.
I don't think they need to go any deeper right now. Definitely misjudged it a little bit. Now they can take on the double with the, just what we were talking about with these two. Question is, does the second red stone jam on the back yellow if you catch it a little bit too thin on that double?
Yeah, I don't. Highly unlikely. It would be super, super thin. Like you'd have to lose your shooter out the back door to make it go there, but might be in their mind anyway.
I think you're still playing that double anyways. And they've given them the opportunity now to make a double and make the hit for 2, kind of a finesse shot. Definitely makeable, but the jam would come back into play.
I noticed the schedule this week. There's a lot of new names in the commentary booth. I don't know if we're getting pushed out in event 2, but we've got some big hitters coming in. Some of the curlers playing this week are going to join us in the booth from time to time, and maybe what that does is open up, a dinner for us, Ty. What do you think?
I don't think it's what they intended, but I think it's definitely in the cards. We got Chop Steakhouse attached to the hotel.
Mr. Mike's is always an Alberta staple.
Mm-hmm.
You never come curling in Alberta, at least I've never, and not ended up at a Mr. Mike's.
That's a fact.
Always a local sponsor of pretty much every curling event. Funny story, at home we kind of moved last week and cleaning out, and I found an envelope to Team Jones, and maybe I'm going to get Jen in trouble because she probably stole them from her team. And I totally forgot them, but there was like $250 worth of Mr. Mike's gift cards.
That goes a long ways at Mr. Mike's.
It can, depending on who you go there with, and if we're eating or we're drinking.
Final stone for Team Gim playing this cross-house double.
Oh no.
That's going to go over the top. That's the one way you really can't miss that one.
And the shootout continues.
Looks like another 3 ball coming up for Team Hoff. They can hit full 12-foot. Team Hoff maybe trying to get us to Mr. Mike's early tonight.
Mr. Mike's is a national sponsor of the events this year and have, like I said, they've been a long-time curling sponsor. And I remember in my Team Cooey days, that was a serious regular staple in our rotation, no matter where you were, and especially in Alberta.
We thank them for being on Team GSOC.
Switching to the draw of the button, I guess we are third end. Nothing wrong with this, a bigger target. Often, I like throwing the same exact path, but especially when you just have to hit the 12 foot.
Final stone for Team Ha. Ah Sung-yeon. Just looking to basically hit paint. Sweepers like it, just a heavy clean. There is your 3.
With no guards, manufacturing the field goal.
So the 3 puts Team Ha back up 4 points once again, 7-3 after 3 ends.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Goldline's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms? Light as a feather.
It's a Goldline.
It's a Goldline.
It's a Goldline.
And is the choice of champions.
Blank ends and singles need not apply here in our feature matchup. Opening round for the women's draw. Co-op Canadian Open. The Silent Ice Center in Nisqually, Alberta, just outside of Edmonton. Team Ha with a 4 and a 3. Team Gim with a 3, and now Hammer. Ha leads 7-3 after 3 ends of action. Brent, we talked during the break about 3 ends that if you mapped out the second half of the end, you probably are looking at an expected maybe 3 or 4 points total.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't make any kind of predictions on what was going to happen at the end of the end. And I see if we add up the other 3 sheets, it looks like our sheet is only trailing by 1. It's 11-10 if we were against the rest of the world here.
I honestly would have been surprised to find out that they weren't leading the other 3 sheets combined, with especially the first couple ends of your first game, which tend to be on the more conservative side. But in all 4 games, we have 1 total blank through 3 ends of action. We like that for the fans and for the broadcasters. Get those rocks in play, mix it up, make it fun.
And it's not like usually when it's 7-3 after 3 ends, there's just been nonstop misses. That's not necessarily the case here. It's not like it's been a perfectly played game, but just the back-to-back misses is really what's got Team Gim behind the 8 ball here. And then when that happened, Team Ha has always come up with a good shot.
Yeah, it's been capitalizing on the misses that they've had. And both teams have done a good job of that with Hammer so far. It's just that Team Ha has had Hammer twice.
That's the difference, I guess. That draw to the button. That accounts for the 4-point lead.
Yeah. You got 2 traded 3s. Other than that, yeah, just that little 4 in the first.
Same as the second end here for Team Gim. Need to try and score multiple, try and score 2, and maybe you can catch another break. but the 2-1-2 is running out of time. That old strategy.
괜찮아.
Might have to mix in a 3 or a steal here. Well, I guess it still works. Just barely, running out of time.
So a more conventional start to this end, I think, than what we've seen so far, too. Team Ha with 2 in the forefoot with that 4-point lead without hammer. Now throwing third stone either to a tight guard or top ring.
Yeah, I might consider instead of a guard here, like if I'm Team Gim, I'm looking at those 2 top 4 thinking I sure would love to get one of my rocks right in the pocket there. So maybe if I'm Team Ha thinking that, I might think maybe I should go there first. It wouldn't leave any easy doubles, just bump the higher one and stay right in the pocket. Might leave a nose double to stay on top of it. That's good that it's really tight. I don't mind that.
미친다.
It kind of ended up in an in-between spot, though, because it's still tight enough that they could hit and roll behind the corner.
Yep.
So, yeah, to your point, I think a little deeper and moving those around. I don't think you really care that much that you're piling them up with the 4-point lead.
얘가 나가야 돼서 11.
Don't even mind the straight come around the corner here first. Then they peel the corner likely, and then you can draw out.
야.
Go around the one where that corner's in the way of the freeze a little bit.
Trying to hold the line to get the roll underneath corner.
Quite, I don't think. Maybe spread these around.
That's not a bad result at all with that rock ending up behind the corner, behind the tee line.
That was accidentally very good. Hit and roll to a center, okay.
12.
This isn't a shot you see played very often. It's great if you make it. Anything but a make isn't awesome. I might even kind of take a pass on peeling here and throw this. It is a righty out turn draw around the center. Be the first one in there.
Yeah, and it's one if you knows that it's really a useless shot too.
It's just
so
kind of a, yeah, you passed a bit.
I don't like playing it with the weight that they did, especially. I know they wanted to roll a little deeper for the guard, but you're playing really a finesse shot in a situation you don't need to with that 4-point lead.
I think they're playing a split. They're playing something on that center one. Come down in with this lefty in turn and bump that top 4 and roll on the other one.
I like the shot because if you play it with enough weight, there's not a lot of bad that can happen. Even if you just go by the yellow, you're still going right to the reds in the back.
Like that.
Yeah, like that.
That would have been my preference. Shot.
That may have been one that was just an absolute like, audible early. But, I mean, the way that they called the sweep sure looks like they were just playing the hit.
So here's what I was talking about on the previous shot for Team Ha. Now they're playing a draw into a worse situation than they could have played a draw into last shot. And it was kind of inevitable this is where it was going to head. For that reason, I want to use my do-over. I want to put the rocks back and say, I'm just kidding. I'm going to play the draw on my last one. Needs to make this good because I think there's still enough room to play a similar shot that they just played for Team Gim and kind of bump that up and roll away. And need a rock in place that can get rid of this top yellow. It looks kind of perfect.
Well, that's a really well thrown shot there too through that staggered port. Good angle. That one will make you breathe a little easier after you make that.
Could still play that same kind of shot. You can play the runner. Or just tap it back and move that around. It's gonna probably end up moving your yellow one that's top 4, and that's kind of your bread and butter shot right now. Could even just come down and freeze in there with the out turn, freeze on the yellow.
The broom they're taking makes it look like they're just playing a soft hit or a split. But I mean, split would have to cross the stone, so this has just got to be like a nose tap and try to move them around. Yeah, they were playing the split the whole way. It just didn't look like close enough room for it.
12?
Yeah.
Whatever that, I think that meant. Is that good?
That's what I was thinking.
It's not great. Oh, timeout.
Early timeout here. Team Ha.
How are they going to get shot rock out? I think is what their thought is. I wonder if they're probably thinking, should we switch gears to offense? And I don't know that you should. It looks to me like if you nose that red one, kill the yellow, your other red rolls over to the other yellow, and that'd be pretty good.
I keep thinking from a distance that the logo on the back of Team Ha's jerseys is the Ghostbusters logo.
And how do you know it's not?
I don't.
Okay.
My eyesight, too, it could be very clearly exactly what it is.
I'd love to tell you what they're saying. I mean, I'll take a guess. I think their initial thought was maybe the guard. But you're really not guarding anything. I guess if you're guarding that tight yellow one, because that's the only way of getting shot rock out, really.
Yeah, that freeze that they made on the previous shot was really
So
important. That's the security stone.
I like a hit on that one, even a hit and roll a little bit low, and your frozen one just rolls over to that other one, and you maybe lie 3, no doubles. Maybe you freeze again if you're really feeling it.
Staggering underneath that center guard isn't bad either, because then
that's fine.
All you're leaving your opponent is the high side of that red stone, which would just play into the yellow #2 counter. And they're looking straight guard. I think I kind of like that other call coming around it, because then they can't play the guard in.
Yeah, you just don't want to put it in a spot kind of top 12 where they could hit and roll and clip that yellow on the way by if they left it mostly open. But drawing right in there would be real good, I think. And they have the run. I don't know. I think I'd just hit it. You're up 4. We make a nose hit on that middle situation. I don't see giving up more than 2, and I think you can force most of the time.
It sure doesn't look like there's any jam either. That's definitely the scoreboard shot.
Well, this is the twist the screws. We've got a lunch reservation at Mr. Mike's call.
I think that's the terminology for the week now, the Mr. Mike's call, the end of game.
Right. Don't want to miss happy hour, apparently.
You're getting real happy if you're going that early.
That's the beauty of the one game a day.
Yeah. Yeah, the Slam schedules. Each team playing one game each day in the round robin. It's a beautiful thing.
Once your game's over, it's dinner time, no matter what time it is. So she almost hooked it. I think it's not, actually, I think she did hook it. It's not quite there to go straight back now. But she can kind of split it and get a couple of yellows in.
민지야, 만약에 타이트하면은 이거 맞아도 괜찮아. 그래 나쁘지 않아.
Looks like she thinks it is there. Just there. Right on the nose. Does it miss that? I don't
That's
think it
really
touches.
close.
If it touches it, it doesn't work.
좋아요. 지금. 오케이,
Oh, no.
올릴게요.
From that angle, it looks like it's just there, right on the nose.
That dead beak. You're losing your raise rock most likely.
If you're really fancy, you play the in turn here to hit it on the nose, so it takes the out turn and has time to curl and stick.
Yep. Reverse gear.
기다려.
Kim Min-ji.
기다려, 아니야. 애나.
Playing
애나.
this nose out turn run back.
애나 와야 돼. 애나.
Switch into the split here, I think.
It doesn't end up in a terrible spot.
Nope, not at all.
They've done a really good job, both teams actually have, of plan Bs and these audibles on the shots. got as good a result out of that as they could based on the line.
Still thinking of guarding. Love the aggression. Don't agree with it in this particular case, but yeah, I think you got to hit this.
Yeah.
This, I said I didn't want to make any. Wow. Stefania Constantini just makes an 1/8 of a rock angle for 3, I think. I don't think the rest of the world's going to want her to really figure out the strategy. Still fairly new to the top level, but man, is she a shot maker.
A beautiful slash in for 3, we believe, there for Constantini, which would give her a 5-2 lead. Looks like they may be measuring for 3. It's at least 2.
This all of a sudden looks like a deuce to me. Hit and roll away, you got to protect. You'd love to roll right in front, but you can't risk hitting it on the nose. So you're going to protect wide. Roll too far.
Awesome, Young.
Even with the double carve. No, this is close.
Needs to get up a little more.
It's a good shot. They almost overcarved it. That's really good. That no longer a deuce. There is a shot to lie to, however. So never mind. Peel just a hair high. Tick tick. It might go on your other one, but
It's definitely a shot you don't mind them playing if you're Team Ha.
yeah. Might be better off just to throw it quieter and just lie one.
A가 그거야. 빨간 색깔이 나가야 돼서 P로 가야 될 것 같아. 여기 잡아줘. P? 왜냐면 빨간 게 나가야 돼서 네, 살긴 살 것 같아.
Team Gim still with just over 16 minutes on the clock.
빨간 게다.
Time to use to talk about this. Team Ha a little under 15 minutes.
너 이거 센터링 보고 가면 돼.
No dire straits for either team, but not long on time. Was indeed 3 for Constantini. Lead 5-2 at the break on Team Laws.
She is playing some weight here. Brings in the red. If it just ticks that second red. Just hit it too thick the second, but pretty good result.
It did move the yellow number 2 up too.
Oh, be careful here. Throw the guard.
It looks like they're. It's really close for shot. I think red is still 1.
Yeah. They did tap that they thought they were shot. The instinct here is just to rip that out of there, but that top 12 one staying and rolling over towards your red is potential to just bump him around and leave us some kind of double for 3. Not too worried about their time, but they are eating it up, and they already used a timeout. Playing the guard, as long as it's not full 8, like better than full 8, and it's in front of that yellow one, it's perfect. There won't be a shot for 2. Is the double, straight double on the reds?
I think there's room to make the yellow run in.
There's also
the space here between the guard and the rock in the top 12.
I don't think she can quite see enough of that shot rock to make the double into the side red, can she?
No, I don't think so. I think it's too
Better
thin.
hope not, because if this overcurls at all and that's there, it would be for 4. That would be on brand for this game, but
yeah, they can't see half of the stone.
Looks like you got to hit big half too. So trying to guard lots of this yellow one. This looks out there and tracking like it's heavy.
It's not light, that's for sure. This needs to hit the brakes. It's starting to slow down now.
Gonna make this freeze perfect again. Yep.
Okay. I think that's just accidentally perfect.
Pretty good.
Yeah, where is that red one going? How do you score except for the tap
Just
for one?
the tap for one.
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
it. There's nothing for two, I don't think. Pretty sure that yellow run-in was there for two before that shot.
It's probably still there into the top red, and you don't have to whip it.
어렵지. 얘 안 보여?
Yeah,
Just a matter of
has
you-
to move that top red one far enough to sit second count.
안 보일 것 같아.
So they're looking at,
As long as that corner guard's not in the way, this shot is there for two, and it can be made with anything from board to normal.
얘는 웨이트 그냥 백에이트만. 백에이트? 사실 괜찮은 것 같은데 생각보다. 근데 그거 맞아도 인이 안 될 것 같아. 안 될 것 같아? 이거 백에이트로 밀자 얘. 이렇게.
Did end up in a pretty damn good spot.
2점 달라고 이렇게.
It was not where they wanted it. That's the line they wanted on, but they're a couple feet heavy of what they wanted.
12반?
yeah, that makes every single shot they were looking at tougher.
얘가 이렇게 와야
That
돼서.
perfect freeze.
좋을 것 같아. 13은 너무
Trying the
약한데.
cheeky little split here, like a back 12 quarter rock and spin in maybe. Looked like that's what she called.
Boy, this is tough. Because you need the shooter to stop.
Yeah.
So you need to hit maybe the fifth, maybe a little less.
Get a little spin. You're going to score almost every time as long as you're not light.
If you make contact, you're scoring. The final stone of the first half of the matchup. Kim Yoon-ji trying an extremely difficult chip and roll in for two. Got contact with the yellow. Oh, and it moved it over the top. So that's actually still one for Team Ha. Steal of one. A wild end ends up with an 8-3 Ha lead going into the break.
You've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call. Where your place? Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mike's. Eat locally, enjoy casual.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance.
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
근데 마이너스 1일밖에 안 됐어. 근데 만약에 점수가 더 2점 차였으면 당연히 센터 쪽으로 갔겠지. 제일 빨리 가네. 근데
No lack of action here in our feature matchup. Team Ha and Team Gim. 8-3 Ha leads after 4 ends of play. Tyler George here with 3-time world champ Brent Lang. Brent, I feel like we could barely keep up with what was going on throughout the first 4 ends with some wild swings and momentum. And until the 4th, every time the team with Hammer was taking advantage, but finally a miss from the last rock thrower in the 4th end, and the result is now a 5-point lead for Team Ha.
Yeah, dream first half and dream start to this Grand Slam of curling for Team Ha against one of the favorites coming in, one of the top 3 teams in the world. So 5-point lead is a big one. But in this game, I'd hate to make any guaranteed predictions at this point.
Now this game could be over after this end, or Team Gim could win outright in 8. Yeah, or tied.
Could be tied.
Yeah.
Who knows?
These are the games you love to do with all the rocks and playing, all the action.
This is an end where Team Ha, if you can force Team Gim to 1, the game is all but over. So a hugely important end. Obviously, I mean, in an 8-end game, in any game now, every end's hugely important. It's easy to say that at any time, but a force here, even if you give up 2, up 3 with playing 6, you're not going to lose very often. I guess the fact of the matter is when you're up 5 in a curling game in the second half, you're probably going to win.
I would expect this is the first end we'll see in this game where Ha plays all-out defense now, too, even in the 4th.
I wonder.
You know, they played that hit. They tried to play that hit and roll off the corner guard. And,
right.
And really could have just peeled that thing out and played the force or even give 2, and really played aggressively to steal or force that entire end. Obviously, it worked out for them because it worked. But now with the 5-point lead and 4 ends to play, generally when you're ahead by more points than there are ends left in the game, you're playing defense.
I think that's a good rule. There's not a lot of hard rules in curling, but I think that could be one.
I can't think of a situation where that's not the case.
I like it.
Even 8th end, if you're up 2, well, 8th is the final end, so I guess it doesn't matter. So back 8 and top 8 for Team Ha. Now throwing to the top of the 12th foot, still like coming into the rings here. But that rock being in the back of the 8 foot does leave another opportunity, at the least, for Team Gim to use something to try to set up a multiple point end.
Yeah, 2 perfect corner guards, and then some shrapnel in the house. 1 top 12 that's a guard, back 8 one to freeze 2. This is the first end that's looked like a 3 this early.
Which means probably 1.
Get this one buried in the rings where it can't be chased.
Trying to get it to finish. Weight's good. Buries pretty much all of it. Don't know that there's any showing on the inside.
She's doing it again.
There's that hit and roll to the center. Yeah, really going for the throat.
Surely you're going to throw this one hard. There's a lot of options if you throw it hard. You can make it straight back.
They've changed to the run.
Yeah, the hit and roll.
So it will be the straight run to try to lose the guard and the stone in the house for Team Ha.
Bump that one up.
Yang Tai.
All right, I don't think that one top 12 was helping you anyway.
I don't think that's a bad result. Guard is gone. Rocking the top 12s is gone. come around draw for Team Gim. Second Kim Soo-ji. Again, trying to get this to finish to Barry. Good result again.
I think you hit, yeah.
If you hit the open one, you're almost assuredly sitting 3. I think nose is all you need, too. You don't need to roll middle.
Does look like nose would be 3, and lots of work to do to score more than 1 for Team Gim. You hate leaving the opponent's rock buried when you're up this many, but
you hate it a little less with a 5-point lead.
Right, you don't hate much of up 5. This one you want to stick around. They're trying to carve it. I think it's light enough it should finish. Ooh, that's awfully thin. Might as well get out of there.
Yeah, not a great result there.
Now you can go around the corner again, because there's a double in the middle. That's fine too, I think. You want to freeze the back, but I think you know the run around the corner. If that one around the corner is already buried, which it's pretty buried.
And you can freeze to the rock in the back of the 8-foot as well.
Yep, that was her first call.
Yep. I'm looking at it again. I think I like that. So now you're sitting 3rd, so it's not going to take a lot of work to make that rock count. You still have 4 shots left.
That's got to be the ice to go around the corner again. It's a strange place to stand, but it could be her lucky spot. Curlers are superstitious.
They are indeed going towards the corner. A lot of room to go right now. And the freezing to the other one. Yeah.
They're just going to follow you down.
That's interesting. Freezing to sit 3rd and 4th.
They're just going to follow that down, surely. Yeah.
I guess the rationale would be you can play the double if you freeze to that one on 1 and 2, but man, I'd really like to get at least. You'd probably be shot rock if you made that freeze on the back too. So I would have preferred the freeze to the rock in the back of the 8-foot, definitely.
Yeah, that's a good shot. She made what was asked of her. They're throwing a lot of weight here. This is a lot of weight. I don't know. Doesn't matter if she hits it perfect, but she didn't hit it perfect.
Now if you make the double on the rock in the top of the 8-foot to the back one, that back stone is getting a little low there. Now you're looking at rolling in too. You're going to need to remove both those red stones in the back at some point. It looks like you could make the double and roll if you play a little weight too.
Almost, eh?
I think that's what they're playing.
But also just play the straight roll because that double at the back is so easy.
You're probably losing your own yellow doing that.
Yeah, they are just playing the straight roll, I would say, with that weight.
They're trying to play the in-turn hit and roll underneath the corner. Kim Min-ji.
Oversent it. That's got to be wide open now because it was just barely buried. So just a missed line call there, or else could have put some serious pressure on. Now Team Ha just has to hit and stay.
Yeah, anything that doesn't jam horribly is a good shot here.
There is room to make the double, but it would be uncomfortably close to the corner guard. So red on the nose probably jams on the back red, which makes you nervous. So maybe you do play the hit and roll to the button here. Leave them the nose into the pocket of your back one, hoping that it kills that other yellow.
And nose is still safe. But yeah, if you roll middle, I don't think there's any way that that back yellow isn't going at some point if they play the hit. Really trying to hold the line. Well, papers by the other yellow and jams, so all 3 yellows stay in.
Interesting.
Where do you hit that stone if you're hitting?
Pump that through the hole and roll in front.
Yeah, and just hope for a jam. And you're really playing to bring the big end into play no matter what. So it's not a matter of, well, if we hit this and make our last, we'll get 2. You're still probably losing the game. Yeah, you're going to have to just roll in front of those 2 reds. That's about all they have with the angles, too. It really didn't end up that poorly at all for Ha. Out turn, hit and roll. Yoonji. Curling hard, trying to hold it for the roll middle. Pulls a little bit, but should be plenty of space to still clear that stone for Ha. And roll a little to the middle.
Hit and stay in the 8 foot here. Anything on the center line side.
I just need to stay. As long as the shooter sticks around here, I don't think you're giving up more than 1.
No, I agree. Another timeout. Wanted to make sure they make the right call here. A good shot here, and this is a game winner. Surely this is just a conversation about how hard to throw it, not about what shot to play. It's like the same weight she just threw and hit and roll the center line.
Yeah, I don't think it's particularly complicated in what to play here, but I think they know they can end the game if they make this well, so they just want to make 100% sure. There's a pretty wide spot you can hit that stone and be safe. And Brent, even if you dead stuck it on that back yellow, you're still sitting 3.
Right.
So you got a pretty big area.
Just can't cross it, obviously. I wonder if they're thinking about throwing it harder, which I don't like, but I don't know what else they could be talking about.
It's a long conversation for a shot that looks pretty straightforward. Because you're always hitting. I mean, there's no question that's the shot you're playing.
I think they ended up with the shot that they were talking about in the beginning, and I think it's the weight too, like a board waiter, kind of heavy board, whatever you're comfortable with.
We've seen this shot or a similar one multiple times now too. I don't think there should be a lot of question about the ice.
Or maybe a little over-analysis here. I wonder if that'll lead to a mistake. Overthinking it for sure.
Last shot for Ah Sung-yoon. Crossing it is not what you want to do here.
This is very light.
Oh man, did they just...
They're lying too.
Yeah, just if that wasn't second, that would have been real bad.
But it can't be super comfortable. There's a shot for 4. And if you're really just tick it, is there room for... No. Got to be thin across the top for 4. But when you're down 5, this is a dream shot, as hard as it is.
You can slash it over the top for 4 too.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to make it, isn't it?
Yeah, you're jamming one way or another coming off the inside unless you just paper. And even then, I think it still almost has to jam on the far back yellow one.
Looks like about a quarter stone and a third. There is 7 feet between them.
Yeah, I would think a thin half even on this line looks close.
Interesting. The long discussion, not more often, but way more often than it should, leads to an error.
Right. Yeah, that was just a lot of talk about a shot that looked pretty straightforward, and then maybe like icing the kicker, which I don't think works as much as icing yourself with a timeout. I really would, and I think we talked about this in the last slam too, Brent. I'd really like to see percentage of shots made coming out of timeouts.
Right.
I really don't feel like it's very high.
It's hard to disagree. Here we go, a big shot. We might have a ball game on our hands, or we might have almost handshakes.
Yep, final shot, playing the over-the-top slash for 4. Way too thin. So ends up a steal of 1.
I think we're going to get potentially handshakes instead of a 1-point game. We're not getting handshakes, we're getting high fives.
So it is steal of 1, and Team Ha leads 9-3 after 5 ends. Major bullet dodged for Team Ha in the 5th end, as there was a double for 4 on Team Gim's final shot, but just a little too thin. They now lead 9-3 over Team Gim. Tyler George with Brent Lang. And Brent, that's a deep breath after that end. This game could very easily be 8-7 right now.
Yeah, it's hard to be up 5 and be that nervous that that you're going to be in a real tight game with 1 shot, but now you're feeling real good again, up 6. If it wasn't such a wild game, I think probably Team Gim may have quit after that end, down 6 with 3 ends to go. I don't see what you're really hoping for. 3-1-3 doesn't even do it. You need a 4 in there, or a 3 and a 2 steal or something. But we've seen a lot of wild stuff this game, so who knows? We're going to see what happens in 6.
It could be a matter of just trying to get some more reps in, too, with the first game of the tournament, if you're wanting to get the ice in your pocket a little better. The other 3 sheets, there's a total of 12 red rocks in the house.
All right, Team Red on a roll.
Trying to.
This Continental Cup, is that Team North America or is that Team World?
Yeah, all the same colors, that's right.
Team North America, are we short? Are there any American women's teams this week?
I don't believe there are.
That's not good to see.
Yeah, some struggles in the previous slams for U.S. women's teams.
Dealt with some injuries. They've got some pregnancies going on. Lots going on, right, in the program?
Yeah, for Team Peterson, I can tell you that there's multiple pregnancies that have affected their season. Both Peterson sisters. Tara gave birth to a healthy young boy, Edward. We're happy for Tara and John. Tab is about ready to pop, so real close there. Team Law is in a world of trouble.
That's jail and then some. Caitlin's baby has not come yet, but if she's watching this one, the baby might be coming now. In our game, we got a double corners, the stacked corners. Two in the middle, Team Ha, they're just going to kind of hit anything they see that's yellow, even if they can kind of hold them to 2 here. Surely that would end the game, but maybe not.
And Team Gim with a little change of strategy, too, with the 2 corners on the same side. They'd been going opposite sides earlier in the game.
Going straight around again, going to leave the center. I guess down 6, risk isn't very scary.
Well, they did a good job of this last end, too, using the corner guards, getting buried.
Team Ha not even thinking of hit and rolling for the center anymore. 6-point lead is their threshold for just throwing straight peels.
Yeah, I would agree with this call strongly. Wang Tai with straight peel, rolls it off, no problem there. Kim Suji trying to get back underneath that corner again now. You have a preference with that, Brent, with opposite side corners or stacking corners? Depends on the ice, depends on the day.
I've seen the opposite sides work way more often. The stacked, I get the theory, I get the idea, and this is the idea. If I'm high, I might just follow her down now. I don't hate the call now. I like the hit and roll for the center. They got a real problem to deal with the middle here.
It's going to take a minimum of 2 shots to clear up the center right now for Team Gim.
This hit and roll, and if it does come up to the nose this time, you're probably going to kill a back one anyway.
Yeah, just throw enough weight. You don't finesse the roll. And they're not doing that, so that's just fine. Just a straight peel.
That's fine.
Kind of a scoreboard shot, too.
Two in the middle are in there so good. That one just shy of the 4-foot on the center line, dead buried, is a real problem.
Trying to think outside the box a little bit for Team Gim now. Thinking of hitting this guard and rolling to a corner. Don't mind that.
Interesting. I think they needed to leave that one buried and go around the center last time, freeze on shot rock or bump them around and create a pocket or something, but
Overswept it a little early.
Will it roll in the rings? A late.
That's a big spin there.
Not quite, I don't think.
Looks to be off from the overhead.
Almost a fantastic shot.
An easy call here for Ha. Just clearing these two yellows, possible. Far more important to lose both than it is to stick. You can do both, hit the right spot. That's perfectly done.
That is really good.
Yeah, great shot. Dead behind that red counter, too, is the best spot for it. If it rolls a little less or a little farther and they're staggered, it's worse. It's a really good result there. Starting to close in on it right now. I don't see anything more than a 2 right now, Brent, even with a miss.
Doesn't even look like it. There's a 2 out here right now.
Yeah, I mean, for this game, I was stretching a little bit, I think.
Even if you bump this around to a pocket, you're going to be third shot, and it's a really good shot.
Yeah, that's about as good as you can do that. Now you have options. And actually,
not super easy to
great
get rid
spot
of.
to get rid of the yellow. Got to kind of go over the top thin.
Yeah. Just thinking of guarding, of course.
Anything half or less, it goes over easy.
Looks to me like an out turn down center, and yeah, hit it that way, right?
Either way, yeah. You're hitting the same amount of the rock either
Probably
way.
similar, right? So jam it on third shot then instead of shot rock.
Right, yeah.
Somebody's burnt some popcorn in here.
I just smelled
hope,
that, too.
anyway.
It's not a terrible smell. It's still popcorn. Got to comment once again, too, on how great this arena is for this event. I mean, you can't draw it up much better for a slam.
Like it was designed just for us, just for the G-Sock.
Got a great media booth here for Brent and I, and John Cullen joining later today.
Part-timer Cullen, I hear he's called. Haven't
Apparently.
seen the guy yet.
The text came in, you know, it might be a little late for tonight, too. I mean,
He's our Hollywood star, though, right? He's always working content.
yeah, he's a busy man. He is. Brent and I are just the bell cows here. In turn, trying to clip this over the top. Just needs to catch it thin, but
She didn't jam it.
just enough. That'll do. Great shot. So still sitting 3. For Team Gim trying to figure out where can we find 2. Looks like freeze is the call to the number 1 counter. May even be to the number 2 counter, playing it deep, yeah, towards the pocket. It tells you how straight the ice is running, too. Broom just inside the edge of the 8-foot. Doesn't get to the center line. Barak behind the tee.
So I know curling's exciting all on its own, but watching sports is always more exciting when you lay down a little friendly wager, isn't it? And I know in Ontario, you know, Doug Ford, he allows us to grab booze at 9 a.m., allows us to gamble on sports. So
Man of the people.
I think for those people in Ontario taking in the action, I believe PointsBet, you can bet on some of this. And if I'm reading this right, and like I said, I'm not an expert on gambling, but it looks to me like they've got Dunstone as the favorite over Jacobs. Somebody send Benny a message. Let him
Bulletin
know.
board.
That would, I mean, that's maybe a 50-50, but I wouldn't say that Dunstone would be the favorite, but who knows?
Two of the top teams in the world, no question in that game. Hot start to the season for Team Jacobs. Brad specifically told us not to pump his tires in the booth for the game.
Yeah, I was trying to be nice to the guy, other than the
Saw him in the
shorts he was
hotel.
wearing. I don't know. He's a younger, more fit guy than me, but I couldn't pull those off.
No, we just tried to be nice and say good things about us. No,
Doesn't
you be
want the
doing that
jinx.
now.
This should be the last shot of the game here for Team Ha. I don't see any way of giving up any points here other than 1, and then you're up 5. That's got to be enough. Not even sure I'd throw this one.
It's as though Team Gim will play the draw against a pile of red stones. Brent, we've played this entire game without a force of 1.
It's been an interesting game. Yeah, it's been again, not a poorly played game, but the scoreboard kind of reflects the poorly played game. It just hasn't been Team Gim's best, but
wrong mistakes, wrong time mostly.
Yeah, and Team Ha has really capitalized, as we said, on any opportunity. And when you start with a 4, even when you do give 3 back, it's a big lead. And then that second 3 was really the kind of the backbreaker, I think.
So this outturn draw, final stone of the 6th. Team Gim trying to put up a single. It's something positive to walk off the ice too.
You need the backing.
It'll be a steal of 1 still. So a 10-3 advantage. That one will be good enough. So we have handshakes. Final after 6 ends. Team Ha, a 10-3 victory. Great start for them, defeating the world's number 3 ranked team. We will be back once again for our next feature matchup, 3 o'clock Mountain Time this afternoon. For Tyler George and Brent Lang signing off, we will see you later today.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you are and fit in comfortably. Mr. Mice, eat locally, enjoy casually.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on, every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line. It's a gold line. It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.